Hello everyone. As we look outside today, the world is transforming into a winter wonderland, but beneath the beauty, a powerful force is at work. Today is December 2nd, 2025, and a massive winter storm is sweeping across the United States, stretching from coast to coast and impacting millions of lives. This fast-moving system began over the Rockies, pulling in cold Canadian air and Gulf moisture, perfect ingredients for a major winter event. The collision of these air masses created a volatile mix, fueling the storm's rapid growth and intensity. By the time it hit the Central Plains, it was already a powerful force, predicted to last just 2 days, but those 2 days would be unforgettable for many. Communities had little time to prepare as winter storm warnings lit up maps nationwide. Grocery stores saw long lines, and emergency crews readied for action. This wasn't just a snowstorm. Some areas braced for heavy snow, others for dangerous ice, and the deep south faced rare December thunderstorms and tornado threats. The storm's reach was as diverse as it was dangerous. The storm promised heavy snow for the Midwest and Northeast, crippling ice in the Appalachians, and severe weather along the Gulf Coast. Each region faced its own unique set of challenges. As Monday morning dawned, the first flakes began to fall in the Heartland, marking the dramatic start of the Great Winter Storm of December 2025. For many, it was a morning filled with anticipation and uncertainty. Meteorologists watched closely, knowing millions would be affected in different ways. Their forecasts and warnings became lifelines for families and communities. The speed and intensity of this storm set it apart, making it a true coast-to-coast event. Rarely do we see a system move so quickly and with such widespread impact. The stage was set for a memorable and challenging few days. Streets emptied, and families huddled indoors, waiting to see what the storm would bring. The journey of this winter giant had just begun, and its story was only starting to unfold across the nation. The storm's first punch landed early Monday in Omaha, Lincoln, and Kansas City, transforming the morning commute into a slippery, nerve-wracking ordeal for thousands. Drivers crept along icy roads, headlights barely piercing the swirling snow as the city's usual rhythm ground to a halt. Snow fell fast and thick, quickly blanketing streets and snarling traffic. Plows struggled to keep up, and the relentless flakes signaled the start of a much larger, more dangerous event that would soon sweep across the region. By afternoon, the storm's reach extended eastward, with St. Louis and Springfield seeing snow intensify as evening approached. Residents watched as their neighborhoods disappeared beneath a growing white shroud, and local officials urged everyone to stay off the roads. South of the snow, a dangerous layer of freezing rain glazed roads from Springfield, Missouri to Little Rock, Arkansas. The ice made travel nearly impossible, creating treacherous conditions and raising fears of power outages as tree limbs sagged under the weight. By nightfall, St. Louis was buried under the storm's heaviest snowband, with drifts piling up along sidewalks and cars vanishing beneath thick layers. Meanwhile, Indianapolis saw its first flakes, signaling the storm's relentless march eastward. Louisville and Cincinnati started with cold rain, but as temperatures dropped, heavy, wet snow soon followed. The weight of the snow threatened power lines and trees, and utility crews prepared for possible outages through the night. Overnight, the storm swept through the Ohio Valley, dropping heavy snow on Louisville, Columbus, and even delivering a rare burst of white to Nashville. Streets were transformed into winter landscapes, and residents woke to a world remade by the storm. Eastern Kentucky saw mostly cold rain at first, but as the storm's backside ushered in colder air, a final round of snow blanketed rural roads and fields, adding to the region's winter woes. As the system moved east, it gathered strength, with forecasters warning that the East Coast would soon be in the storm's crosshairs. The nation watched as the massive weather system continued its relentless advance. Forecasters tracked the complex mix of hazards, snow, ice, and rain across the region, updating warnings and urging residents to prepare for rapidly changing conditions. The Heartland braced for more as the storm pressed on, with communities coming together to shovel sidewalks, clear driveways, and check on neighbors as the snow continued to fall. For the Midwest, this ordeal was only the beginning. A powerful reminder of nature's force, and a signal that the storm's story was far from over. The Midwest woke to a solid blanket of snow, up to 3 inches in Kansas City and northern Missouri. Though not record-breaking, the quick accumulation caused major travel headaches during the Monday commute. Chicago saw 3 to 4 inches, with snowplows working overtime, but side streets remaining slick. Indianapolis, Louisville, and Cincinnati received 2 to 3 inches of heavy, wet snow, leading to school delays and cancellations. Cleveland and the Lake Erie snowbelt saw totals climb to 6 inches, thanks to lake-effect snow. The storm left a uniformly white landscape and widespread travel troubles. Power outages were limited, but the heavy snow clung to trees and lines, raising concerns. Children enjoyed unexpected snow days while crews worked to clear roads. The Midwest's winter punch was swift, disruptive, and memorable. As the storm exited the Ohio Valley, it tapped Atlantic moisture and rapidly intensified, targeting the Northeast. Along the I-95 corridor, cities like D.C., Philadelphia, and New York saw cold rain, sparing them major snow. Just inland, the story changed. Mountain regions in Pennsylvania, New York, and New England were buried under heavy snow. Snow fell at rates of up to 2 inches per hour in places like Scranton and Albany. The Poconos and Catskills saw over a foot, with widespread power outages as trees snapped under the weight. Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine reported isolated totals near 2 feet. By Wednesday morning, the storm had moved into Atlantic Canada, leaving behind a transformed, snow-covered landscape. Towns were buried, roads impassable, and the cleanup began. The storm's impact would be felt for days, if not weeks. The Northeast had weathered a classic nor'easter. While snow blanketed the Midwest and Northeast, the Appalachians faced a crippling ice storm. Warm air above cold ground created freezing rain from North Carolina through Virginia and into Maryland. The Virginia-West Virginia border was hardest hit, with over a quarter-inch of ice coating everything. Trees and power lines snapped under the weight, plunging hundreds of thousands into darkness. For many, losing power in winter was a true emergency, as temperatures dropped. Roads became sheets of glass, isolating entire communities and halting emergency services. Earlier, Arkansas had seen a less severe glaze, but the Appalachians bore the brunt. Utility crews faced a monumental task. Restoring power would take days, or even weeks. The beautiful icy landscape hit a destructive force. The region's infrastructure was left battered and vulnerable. The ice storm's impact would linger long after the storm had passed. While snow and ice dominated the north, the storm's southern edge unleashed severe thunderstorms. Gulf moisture fueled storms from Mobile to Apalachicola, with a marginal tornado risk overnight. Supercell thunderstorms threatened the Florida Panhandle, but a major tornado outbreak was avoided. Still, strong winds and heavy rain battered coastal communities. Residents were urged to stay alert for overnight warnings. The clash of Arctic and Gulf air created a volatile battleground. As the storms passed, a dramatic temperature drop swept the Gulf Coast. The South's brush with severe weather was a stark reminder of the storm's complexity. The storm's end brought no relief. An Arctic blast followed, plunging temperatures to dangerous lows. The cold swept in behind the storm, first hitting the upper Midwest and northern plains. By Wednesday, December 3rd, the Ohio Valley shivered in the teens and 20s. The fresh snowpack amplified the cold, reflecting sunlight and dropping temperatures further at night. The coldest air arrived Thursday. Minneapolis hit -10, Fort Dodge, Iowa, -20. Wind chills reached -30 to -40, prompting extreme cold warnings. Frostbite could occur in minutes, and authorities urged caution. The cold snap was forecast to persist, with below-average temperatures dominating the eastern U.S. Only Florida escaped the deep freeze, while the West stayed mild. This pattern set the stage for more winter storms in the weeks ahead. The nation braced for a prolonged chill. The Arctic blast was a harsh finale to an already punishing storm. Snow, ice, and bitter cold brought daily life to a standstill for millions. Streets that once bustled with activity fell silent, as the relentless storm forced people indoors and left entire neighborhoods eerily quiet. Roads from Kansas City to Maine became treacherous, with major highways closed and accidents widespread. Emergency vehicles struggled to reach those in need, and many drivers found themselves stranded for hours, waiting for help in the freezing cold. The Appalachian ice storm left entire communities cut off. while airports from Chicago to the northeast saw thousands of flight cancellations. Travelers faced long delays, sleeping in terminals as runways disappeared beneath thick layers of snow and ice. Power outages hit hardest in Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina, as well as the Poconos and Catskills. Entire towns were plunged into darkness, and families huddled together for warmth as utility crews raced to restore electricity. The timing was brutal. Arctic cold followed, making loss of heat a life-threatening emergency. For many, the bitter wind and plunging temperatures turned simple tasks into daily struggles for survival. Schools, businesses, and government offices closed across more than a dozen states. Streets emptied as communities braced for the worst, and daily routines were upended by the relentless weather. The storm exposed the vulnerability of modern life to nature's power. Even the most prepared cities found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the disaster. Snow removal and power restoration became monumental tasks, with crews working around the clock. The relentless pace of the storm meant progress was slow, and every cleared road or restored line was a small victory. Shelters opened for those without heat, and neighbors checked on one another. Communities came together, offering food, warmth, and support to those most in need. The storm's impacts lingered long after the last snowflake fell. Streets remained hazardous, and cleanup efforts stretched on for days as residents worked to recover. December 2025 storm was a test of resilience for millions, a reminder of both the power of nature and the strength found in community during the harshest of times. Preparation and caution were key to surviving the storm. People stocked up on essentials, fueled vehicles, and readied alternative heat sources. Staying off the roads reduced accidents and kept routes clear for emergency crews. After the storm, the focus shifted to staying warm. Checking on neighbors, using safe heating, and seeking warming centers if needed. Frozen pipes became a new concern as temperatures plunged. The storm was a powerful lesson in the importance of readiness. From Chicago's snow to Virginia's ice and Iowa's cold, millions were tested. By heeding forecasts and looking out for each other, communities weathered the storm's aftermath. The giant winter blast finally loosened its grip, but its lessons would last.